Hello and welcome to, or welcome back to, the Nasdaq Scalping Bot channel. This is a special edition because we don't gonna look at the daily report as in how is the bot doing and how's the code doing, but today I'm gonna take you guys along with the AI portion of the bot, and I had already done this last weekend and the AI wasn't that perfect. And now I'm gonna take you along with the new AI, and I will show you in between what I do, why I do it, so that you guys can do this in less time than I did, because this is the third day in a weekend that I'm working on this AI. With this video, I hope you guys to see how you can implement AI at your own without losing that much time as I did on fine-tuning the AI for my bot. And don't be afraid that it is the bot, because the AI I explained to you today during my repairs on the bot is also usable for any other project you want to do with AI implementation. So if you want to know how we're doing it, just stick around. And before I go on with the AI explanation, I want to let you know, guys, I'm a proud man because Max Verstappen became fourth-time world champion today in Las Vegas. So, as a Dutch guy, I'm proud of my man that we are the fourth-time world championship in Formula One racing. Yeah. Now, let's go on with the video. I will pause the video in between my working on it, because otherwise the video would take 8 hours or whatever time it would take to correct this. So I will pause the video in between and come back to you guys with their new implementations and the changes and why and how I did something. But the first part will be the same for everyone, and that is the starting point of the AI. If you want to implement AI for your own project, there are 4 steps you have to go through before you actually can use your AI. And I will explain them in detail during the rest of the video, but the 4 steps are: fetch and clean your historic data. You need to have historical data. Without data, you cannot train your AI to do something. The next step is preparing your AI data. Maybe you need to do some calculations, or you do some shifting of data or whatever. Then you really gonna create the sequences. That's the reforming of your training data in actual the data you need for your AI to recognize patterns or whatever. So you need to create sequences. And then you see I use 2 models, but there is the 4th step is training your model in the way with responses you need it to be for your own project. And I have an RNN model and I have a KNN model, but I'm hoping that the RNN model will be the dominant one, and the KNN model, it's nice to have the KNN model, but the RNN model is the real deal of artificial intelligence. At the background, you see I have ChatGPT with me, so if there is something on that side I need to share with you guys, then I will do this too. But for now, we're going all the way up. And the first step is preparing. Let's see the first step at all. The first step is importing a lot of libraries you need for your project. So pause the video if you need all these. The gray ones are the ones that I did use and maybe use again, but those are not relevant right now. So depending on how the day develops, these gray ones will maybe activated again or definitely deleted. If so, at the end of the video I will show you again which imports you really need for these project of AI. Then you see that I have created some variables with the data file path names, data file paths and the names, so I don't need to use, so I can reuse them during the project. So this is all the data we had, and you see I have a contract data, that's my history data I'm going to use for the AI. Then the filtered data file, that's the one that I filter from the history, the real data I need to train the bot, to train the AI. So I need to filter data from the contract data into the data I really gonna need. Then the trading data, and the training data file I use with the filter data and do some calculations. And I don't think that I'm going to use them this time, because in the previous version of the AI I had to recalculate MACD values because in historical data those were wrong. But in the new historical data I built last week, there is the correct MACD values. Thus, I don't think that I need this anymore, and so I think I'm gonna skip this step, but you will see in the video. But maybe for your case, I don't know where you want to plan your AI to use for, it should be, it could be a part of your file structure you need. Then you see I have a file with the training sequences, and the training sequences is not a comma separated, but NPY. It's the specific, those two are specific files created for your sequences and your labels. I will explain those later on in the video too. And then the two paths for both my models that I use inside the AI, inside the AI programming. Then I have, as you see, a sequence length of 26. And this means the number of data in one sequence are 26. And I started with 10, and I think it will go back to 10 again. And why did I change it to 26 the last time? Because 26 candles, that's what I'm aiming for. 26 candles is what you need to calculate the right MACD values. But 10 is the usual number you need, and I will look at it if 10 is back up again as the most, as the best value for a sequence length. And later on in the video you will see if I will change this back to 10 or maybe something else while I'm testing the program of the AI part. Going down, then you see two functions called the calculate MACD and the calculate EMA and the calculate MACD. Those functions, I guess I don't need them anymore. I had them because in the previous historical data there weren't any MACD values, not trustworthy MACD values. So I had to recalculate them during the creation of the data, refining and filtering the AI data. And I guess I can remove these two functions to I can remove those two functions as I don't need them anymore. But for you guys, if you need to do any calculation with your historical data and need to change something in it, then you need something of a function to do this. Then the first step of your AI generation, of your AI project, is to fetch and clean the data rows. And I can show you the original data I'm going to use, and that is the contract data CSV. That is this one, nice in a rainbow package. I want to go up. Right up there in the first line, you see, get up there, some data information I use, like the contract ID, the timestamp, the balance, the current candle open, the close, etc. All these columns are representing data for the AI as that I'm planning to use, but you need to create or to have. I created during the week, but you need to have something of historical data, and the larger, the more rows you have in your historical data, the better your AI will function. And I created one of these, and you see this has almost 4,500 lines of data to create. And I already know that I'm not going to use all these data. I'm going to clean this up even before I'm going to clean it up in the programming. So I will let you show, I'm going to show you how I'm going to clean it up and what I did to clean up. So I'll be back with you in a sec. And we're back. As you don't see right now because you don't know the difference as I do, but I still have the headers of my CSV all the way up there. Nothing changed there, but I started now at the 19th of November this year instead of another week ago. So these are the most recent data I'm going to use to train my AI with it. And when you see and you look at these headers on the top of my CSV, there are some headers that I need, and there are headers that I don't need to be in the training data for my AI. So that's the first step, and that's the step I already explained to you guys. Fetch and clean data rows. So you have your historical data, and now you need to reshape it slowly into data you can use to train your AI. And I already have all the candles I need all the way up here, and there are now new candles I'm going to add. The new columns I'm going to use with my AI are now added, and those are the MACD line, the signal line, and the histogram. And in the previous version, I need to calculate those, but now in this version of the historical data I created last week, I no longer need the calculation. So I can use the direct information from the historical data connected to the right candles. And I guess that was the problem last week, that the MACD line, signal line, and histogram weren't directly connected to the right candles, and therefore it was hard for the AI to predict what would be next. So the columns to keep, I expanded those with the new information I want to, and for your project, your CSV, this is also your step to do. Which data of your CSV file, of your historical data, do you want to keep and use? And important in your collection of data is the data you want to predict it by the AI. In my case, I want that the AI predicts a buy, a sell, or a hold. And a buy, sell, or hold are in my historical data stored in the B/S as in buy/sell. So I add that column into my CSV and into the AI training data, because that is what I want that the AI could predict. So don't forget to bring along the data you actually want to be created by your AI. You cannot expect your AI to predict something with no reference to how he should predict this. So bring along your data you need. Then I open the source file and I delete the old training data, so that if the collection of data gets bigger and bigger during the next couple of weeks that the bot is working, also the historical data will be larger, and the larger the historical data is, the better it is for your AI training. So I will delete the old training data and replace it with the new training data for the AI. And that's what I'm doing here. So if the old spot is file, if the file is existing, delete that file and print the delete old training file as info to me that this old file is deleted. You don't need to print it, but for me, the information that it has been done. So then you open your CSV as a read file, your historical data as a read file. With CSV Reader, you read the entire data into the memory of Python. The first row is the one with the headers, so that's what you're doing here. The next row is the headers. Then index your data. You need to index, I need to index, but you need to index too, so you can shift and switch anything you need inside your historical data into the format you need to create your training data. So reform and reshape. Then find the indices with the headers to keep. I already have declared which headers I want to keep, and index the header about the buy or sell. This index we want to have too. Then the part of cleaning up is this part. For row and reader, skip the empty rows and take only the rows what are filtered into the indices as keep. So each header, each row, and each column in a row will be kept as long as it is a part of the headers you want to keep. In my case, it's 18 headers or so they need to keep, and then it will be appended to the new filtered rows, and then the filtered rows will be right again into a new file, and that's the output file. Write your cleaned data into an output file, and if you're correct, then you will find in your output file exactly that information you need to have. And what I see is the next step, preparing the AI data, but I know I don't gonna need this one, so I need to make some changes in the previous code to change everything from the B/S, not the BS, oh wow, from the B/S, everything that meant buy, sell, or hold. As you see, AI cannot handle text strings. So I need to reshape every buy, sell, and hold into a numerical value, like in my case, 0, 2, 1, and 0, buy, sell, and hold, which means 0 for hold, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna show you how I did this in a couple of seconds. This is the new coding for this section of creating the training data. And as you see, I have some changing. I removed the MACD calculation because I no longer needed the MACD calculation. And if we're going to take a look at what I changed, whoa, I'm missing some part of it. Oh yeah, we're starting right here. The mapping of the text into value, and that's what's happening here. A buy becomes a 1, a hold becomes a 0, and a sell becomes 2. That's the mapping. And I removed I only kept the first 15 headers of the original CSV, because at the 16th there was the buy/sell header, but I needed to move the buy/sell header to the end of the row, so I needed to remove everything behind it and create a new one, as in a MACD line, signal line, histogram. And the final one is the BS. Training rows, it's nothing changed there, but we have now reshuffled the training data, the cleaned historical data. We reshuffled it into the new format, as we needed the first 15 values, then 16, 17, and the 18 values. Those were the values of the MACD line, the signal line, and the historical data. And then finally ending the row with the mapped new buy, sell, or hold value. And if we're going to look down here, you see that there is a new row with all the values, and at the end you see 0, 0, 0, a 2, 0, 0, a 2, and a 1. So this is what we need. But I also see that there are values with an NA. And that shouldn't be there, because if there is not a value available, I don't want to have those one in my training data. So I need to go back to the cleaning up of the data and throw those rows out also. So be back. And back. And I'm sorry guys, I wasn't planning to jump through forth and back into the coding between several functions, because I wanted to be this video as you going in one way, going down, building your code as you need it. But now I've changed something in an earlier part of the code, and that's what you're seeing here in the cleaning up. So fetch and clean up the data rows, I added an extra filter in the cleaning up, that all rows containing a not available, that those rows are not kept in the filtered data, as in I need to filter them out. So I only keep data with actual only numbers in the row. And if you look down here, you see that there are only numbers right here, and the ending with a 0 or a 2 or a 1. So that is good, and I already see that there are a lot of zeros. So maybe we need to reshape, we need to do this again. We're going back to, where did we state that? Right here. So I rearranged the columns in the order I needed them to be for the training data. That's what's happening here. And I ended, the final part is the value, a 0, a 1, or 2. And those are writing into the training data file. This is the actual training data file we're going to use to train. So now we have cleaned up phase 1. We cleaned up, and phase 2 is we reshaped, we reformatted the original data we use, historical cleaned up data, into the format we need to train our AI. Next phase is creating the sequences. And I don't need to do anything here because I already do this. The only thing I need to change, and I already did that, is the sequence number I'm gonna use. The number of sequences gonna be at 10. That's what I did at the start of, and that's what you saw right here, not there, but, oh, I did not. So I'm gonna change this one back to 10. That's what its original is. The sequence length is 10. Now going back down here, creating the sequences, and that's new code for you guys, but I already have this code and I don't need to change anything about it right now, but I'm going to tell you what's happening here. This part of the code, this part of your AI creation is creating sequences so that you can train your AI with values and that he can recognize patterns between the several sequences so that he can recognize a pattern and he can give you your answer you want to have. And to do so, I have told him that the features columns are all, so the columns he needs to put in the training data for the AI are the first as everything minus the last one. That's why I particularly wanted to be that the buy, the sell, and the hold was the last one in the row. So all except the last column, and the label column, the column that actually gonna function as the answer the AI should give to me, is in that row the final one, the -1 of the entire row. Then there is a sequence labels and data dictionary created, an empty one, and the training data is opened. The reader CSV is reading out every row in your data. It gets the headers, but you don't need the headers in your training data. So, but I still have them there. It's more logical than before. Now you see what you're doing. And then float row, for each number there should be a float. That's what you're doing here. Make a float row so that all the data that aren't a float will become a float, and that's only for the candle values. The candle values are all non-floatable. They are all integers and not floats. But the MACD values and the rest are all in a float. So whatever he finds in a row, create a float of it and append it in the data append. Then you need to shape the NPy data array. You need to create an NPy data array. And how does this look? That's why I have the print still there to show you. What you see is this is the old print of the row. I can disable this print too. New AI training data prepared and saved, so it's saved. And this is the data, the array created by NumPy. So if you're doing it right, you should find, if you're using a print for this data, it should look like this one. So now you have your sequences. That's the most important. Those NPy creation. It went wrong several times in my case the first couple of times. So this is the correct the correct coding to do this. And then the next one is creating the two ranges, the two separate files you need to train your bot. And the first is the range of sequence length as the original data. In my case, everything from the first candle until the MACD, the histogram, the first 17 columns, and then the labels is the second, and the labels, that's in my case the one from the sequence length minus the last one, and that's the label 0, 1, or 2. Those labels are sequences, and they are saved into the training sequence file and the training labels file. And you can find them right here on the side. Do you see them? There is a training labels NPI and a training sequence NPI. So these are no longer CSVs, these are NPIs. And if I open one of these, you cannot read it. It says NumPy describe F1 Fortran order false shape, and then these aren't readable for us humans anymore. We now are entering the shape world of the AI. So NPy save for the training sequences and the training labels are here. If I want to show them, and I already did, I see, then I have some printing that I used last time to check if there were actually being things done. So I'm going to show you, and I'm going to disable this print. And then I'm going to run the code again. And then I'm going to look at preparing data saved. This is the new printout. Saved 758 sequences and 758 labels. That's correct. There are 3 unique labels in my case. Maybe you have 2 or only 1, but 1 should be strange. Maybe you had 2, yes or no. But I have unique labels 3. The 0, the 1, and the 2 are unique labels. And then the sample sequence with label is what is printed all the way here. So all the are right here. So if you want to check if you have what you need, you can use these prints, and especially the print sequences and the print labels, to see if you have everything you need for the next step of your AI. I don't need to change anything about this. So I already had this. If you have this, we can go on to the next phase. And I see I have a lot of coding in comment style, and these are my first pieces of code I used before I gonna run something. So I tried these, and I'm gonna show you what these do. This is pieces of code I moved from inside the function to outside the function. That's why these are all here. And I'm gonna make it this way. This function, focal loss, alpha, gamma, and ChatGPT explained it to me, and I will try to explain it to you. Focal loss is designed for imbalanced data sets. It modifies the standard loss to focus more on the hard and classify examples. Because in my previous data, there was too many holds, too many zeros. So the AI always gave me the answer when I fed him a sequence of data. He said, oh yeah, nice data, hold. And what I expected was, yeah, nice hold, but I want to know if it needs to be a sell or a buy or a hold. And the only answer it gives me was hold. And the answer from ChatGPT was we can classify that some pieces of code, some answers are more usable than others. That's what this piece of code does. And I have another one which I use to fix it. So I'm going to comment this one out again. The next part is a function to test the different class weights. And I'm going to skip this one because you don't know exactly what this means, even if I explained you in this case. So I'm going to skip this one. And we go straight into the training of the model. That's what most of you think are interested in. The RNN model training is what this is. And I'm going to take a look if I disabled the print. Yes, I did. Okay. The RNN model training is the recursive neural network training with the data we just created with the sequences and with the labels. You can print it out. I created a print right here because I needed to check if there were actually the shapes and of the sequence shape and the labels, if they were actually loaded. So there was more to check for me if actually data was. Then the next step in your training is to create two separate files or two separate training sets. And this is what this part does. This command creates a train test split from all your historical data you have and what you have created in something like this. A part of it will be used to train the AI, as this is the data you have to look at, this is your memory, and a separate part of it will be used as something to test the AI, as in, well, now you know what you have to look for these. And then he gets these other part, the test set, to look for if there are some values that are the same, and then he can respond with, oh yeah, I know, this is it. So this is an important step in your training. This is not the actual training, but this is what you need to, that's why you also need a rather large historical data file, because you cannot train your bot with 10 lines of historical data and 7 are the training and 3 are the testing. So you need a large, and I have about 800, and even 800 is not good enough. So I need, for the next couple of weeks, this will grow, and that's only good. The historical data will be larger every time. But this is what you need to do. Then you can see with the print if the shapes and how the testing sets are looking, how they are look. And I'm going to disable right away the smooth. I'm going to explain what it does, but I don't want to have it right now. And if it needs to be, I will act it again, because I want to show you this printout of the testing and the training set. That's what it's all about. And you will also see, if all goes well, you will see this, the smaller sequential. I will explain that too in a minute, but that's what you're also gonna see. So let's run again. By the way, I turned on some lighting because it's getting rather dark. Yes, okay. Now I'm gonna kill the bot. And you see there's a training set. See the information right here, training set 606, 10, 18, meaning that there are 606 rows of your original historical data using to train the bot in sequences of 10 with 18 values. That's what it's telling you. And the testing set contains 152 rows of 10 sequences with 18 values. Those need to be exactly the same, 10, 18, 10, 18. Otherwise, you don't train your bot in the correct way. And now you see that I have in total 785 rows in my testing, and that's not that large. It needs to be more. It will be eventually in the couple of thousands, and the longer the bot runs, the better these data are going to be, and eventually it's going to be in 5, 6, 7,000, 10,000. I don't know when to stop. It's a question that I can ask ChatGPT about. So when should I stop creating a training set? I know his answer gonna be, yeah, you have to be as large as possible. Yeah, but we also have something that's called disk space. And when a file is too large, your operating system will say, cannot handle this size. So, okay, but the training set and the testing set, you see, your data is split up into 2 files, and then it's gonna train your bot, and that's what you're looking at right here. These are the epochs, and I disabled the bot because the epochs I have used now are 75, and it means it trains the bot 75 times with the same values and see if it's getting smarter and if the prediction, the accuracy is better every time, and at which point, at which value is the accuracy high. And looking right now, even I don't have done anything else with the code up here, I see an accuracy of, again, 70, 52, 58, 71, 75. Those values are a lot better than the previous version with the old data, because the previous version I had a hard time to get above the 33. So 71% or 33, 34%. This is a magnificent improvement of the AI performance. So maybe I don't need anything of this code. I'm gonna break in here because I was editing the video and I see that the video was way too long. It's taken too long. So while editing, I decided to bring this up and split this one up in 2 parts. So this was part 1 of adding a AI to your project in Python. I hope you liked it. If you did, then press like. If you want to see more, and probably you want to see more, the second part will be online also. But if you want to see more about how the bot functions and how we're gonna make profit in the future, then I will suggest that you subscribe to and follow the channel and how the bot is actually producing and working with the AI. If you have any questions, then you can join me in my Discord server. Then I can help you more directly with any problems you have in using this code as your AI. There's always ChatGPT, but you can come to me directly in the Discord server, and maybe I can help you there. Or maybe you have some tips for me, then I feel free to leave a comment or also get to the Discord server. If you want to see me live, I do use the bot live every day on Twitch. Then I also do the reporting, the daily report on Twitch, and I will leave a link to the Twitch and to Discord in the description. So I hope to see you in part 2 of this series about the AI. For now, have fun.